All right, 122 fractional exponents and simplifying expressions. So this is going to rely much more heavily on the simplifying expressions. I don't even know if there's fractional exponents in there at all. Oh, yep, there is at the end. Now, this will be a very good paper for your quiz, to review for your quiz. So I'm just going to go through a few of these and get you started. So let's look at number one. There's all kinds of ways that you can start this problem. There's not one correct way to do it. Uh, a lot of the times, whenever I'm simplifying things with a lot of exponents, I look for the parentheses and I look for the negative exponents. In this case, we have parentheses on top, and then we have a negative exponent on bottom, and we also have negative exponents on top. So let's start off with the parentheses on top. So I'm just going to rewrite the k cubed times 2k squared times, and I'll put my k to the negative 1 on bottom. Now what we have left is the parentheses piece. We know that if we have exponent, parenthesis, exponent, you multiply. So I'm going to multiply negative 2 times negative 1, which gives me a positive 2. So this will be k squared to the positive 2. All right, next up I want to look at my negative exponent on the bottom. That means that I need to flip it up to the top. So this is going to be equal to k cubed times 2k squared times k squared, and then times k. We could write this all over 1, right? This k on the bottom, k to the negative 1, has become a k on top now. Our denominator has a 1, and any integer, any number has a denominator of 1. So we can just kind of drop that. We can leave that. So next up, I'm just going to drop that bottom. It's going to be k cubed times 2k squared times k squared times k with no fraction bar. Lastly, to finish up, we want to write this a little bit nicer. I'm going to write my 2 out front, and then I'm going to have a k, and I'm going to count how many k's I have. I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total k's. Did I just count that right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, 8 k's. So this would be 2k to the 8th. All right. Let's look at something else. Really, let's scroll down. We'll look at number 5. Now remember, if we had 5 over 5, we could cancel those, right? If we had 5x over 5, we could still cancel the 5's, right? So in number 5 here, let's look, and we can cancel the 2 on top and 2 on bottom. We have an x to the negative 4 on top and an x to the negative 4 on bottom, right? It doesn't matter how ugly it is, or how ugly the piece is, as long as it's the exact same thing on top and bottom, you can cancel them. Now let's look at our 0 exponents here. So 2x to the 0. Well, x to the 0 is 1, right? Anything to the 0 is 1. So on top, we just have plain old 2. And on bottom, we have x to the 0 to the 4th. So this is going to be 1 to the 4th, which is just the same thing as 2 over 1, which is 2. All right, let's look at another one. Let's go on to the harder ones here. Maybe let's look at number 14. The directions say that we should only have positive exponents with no fractional exponents in the denominator. Okay. Now, if we end up having a fractional exponent in the denominator, I probably won't mark you wrong right now, but eventually we're going to want to try to get rid of those. So starting off here, let's try to simplify what's inside the parentheses first, right? Let's leave this 1/2. Let's just leave it there for a while. So what's inside the parentheses? Let's look at our negative exponents. We're dealing with this one here and that one there. Let's put them in the denominator to make them positive. So up top, I'm going to be left with just a plain old b. On bottom, I'm going to have b to the 1/2, b squared to the 3/2, and b to the 3/2. And this is all still to the 1/2. Right. this here and that is our blue highlighted piece from the left equation. Now I'm going to deal with my inner parentheses, the one with the b squared to the 3 halves. So this will turn into, I have b on top, b to the 1/2 times b to the, well, 2 times 3 halves is just a plain old 3. And then times b to the 3 halves. And of course, it's all to the 1/2 still. Now, I have a bunch of b's that are multiplied together. That means I'm going to add their exponents. So I have 3, let me just type that in. Actually, I think I can do that with 3, 4, 5. I think it's going to be a b to the 5th on bottom. There we are. Right, 1/2 and 3 halves gives me 2, plus 3 gives me a 5, yeah. Now I can cancel a b from the top and bottom, and I'm left with a 1 over b to the 4th to the 1/2. Now whenever I multiply out my 1/2 or distribute out my 1/2, however you want to think about that, we have 1 to the 1/2 b to the 4 halves, which is 1 over b squared. Right. This is probably one of the longest problems that we have here. It still uses those easy rules, but it's a little bit harder to see. Take it slow, write out your work. You see how much work I wrote there. I don't think I was exaggerating here by writing work down, writing that much work. If I were doing this myself, I would write down some work. I might not write down quite this much, but I would write down a lot, okay? You need to be showing your work. You need to be writing things down. Let's look at another one. Let's look at number 19. The thing to look here is we've got a 0. Anything to the 0 is 1. So I don't care at all what's inside here. It could be anything, as long as it has that 0, so we have a 1 as the answer. All right, number 21. We're going to start off by dealing with those negative exponents in the numerator. So let's take them and put them in the denominator. So I'm going to have just a plain old xy on top. And then on bottom, I'm going to have 2x cubed, x to the 4th, y to the 4th. And everything is to the 4th. Now I'm going to simplify my denominator together. And while I simplify, I'm going to cancel out an x and a y from the top and bottom, right? So I'm going to cancel this x, and we'll maybe change this to a 2. Cancel this y, and we'll change that to a 3. So this will be a 1 on top, and it'll be 2x to the 6th, y cubed, all to the 4th. Now I'm going to multiply or distribute, however you want to think about this 4, right? This 4 is going to go to the 1, the 2, the x, and the y. So this will be 1 to the 4th, 2 to the 4th, x to the 6th to the 4th, so that's 6 times 4 is 1224, and then y to the 12th. 2 to the 4th is that 16? I think that's 16. 16, x to the 24th, y to the 12th, and we have a 1 on top. Alrighty, there we are. Let's do maybe one more. We'll do 2 more. We'll do number 23 and 24. Now, we could deal with our negative exponents first, but instead, I think I'm going to distribute the 2 on top. I'm going to take care of those two together. So this will turn into a m squared n to the negative 6th over 2n m cubed, oops, m to the negative 4th, n to the negative 2. Now I'm going to deal with all my negatives. I'm just going to kind of flip them up or down wherever they need to be. So on top I'll have an m squared. I'm just going to highlight things as I write them so that I don't lose anything. M squared, and then I'm going to write down the m to the 4th and the n squared. Now I'll have 2nm cubed, so that's this, and then I'm going to have n to the 6th, just like that. Now we need to just kind of combine like terms. It's not quite combining like terms, but we're going to put together the m and the m here, and the n and the n there. So this will be m to the 6th n squared over 2m cubed n to the 7th. Oh, wait, we're not done yet. We need to cancel some things out. We have an m on top and an m on bottom. Maybe I can highlight this. The m's will cancel out on top and bottom. The 2 will stay on the bottom. We'll have m cubed on top. And now if I look at the n's, if I cancel those out, I'll have an n to the 5th on bottom. Now we're done. All right, that's number 23. And let's look at number 24. Let's start off by distributing the -3 in the bottom. Yeah, that'll be a good way to start. While I rewrite it, I'm also going to put together this x with those x's. And I'll put together this y with the other y, and I'll put the z with the other z. So I'm going to kind of combine the top, right? And since they're all just multiplying together, I'm just going to add them together. So I have x to the 4th and x, so that'll be an x to the 5th. Y to the -1 and y to the 2, so it'll be -1 plus 2 will just be a plain old y. And then z to the -1, z to the -1 will be a z to the -2. The denominator will give me an x to the -12th, y to the -9th. Now I need to make all my exponents positive, so I'll have x to the 5th, x to the 12th, y, and then y to the 9th. And on bottom, I'll have a z squared. Lastly, I'll put my x's together to be an x to the 17th, my y's together to be a 10, and my z squared again. And there we are. Again, I think I already said it, but make sure that you go through these problems slowly. Don't try to rush through them. Write your work down. I write my work down whenever I do these on my own, and I've been doing these a lot longer than you have. Okay, you need to write your work down. All right, email me if you have any questions. And again, this is a really good review for your upcoming quiz. All right, bye-bye.